Hey, it's Jamie, and today we're rehashing Isaiah 9 to 16. In chapter 9 of today's chapters, Isaiah is prophesying the coming of Jesus. There is no explanation of how hard he hits the nail on the head here, but other than the Lord is speaking through Isaiah. He knows the lineage Jesus will be born into. And instead of the common Jewish belief of a mighty warrior, Isaiah describes Jesus perfectly, calling him a wonderful counselor, calling him the Prince of Peace. In chapter 9, verse 6, he says, "A child will be born unto us, a son is given to us." These words were written like 680 BC, so let that sink in. What a wonderful, mysterious Lord we have, eh? So chapter 10, moving on, is riddled with prophecy about the war and the Lord's anger against a disobedient Israel. It goes on and on about the awfulness that will fall on these people. But in chapter 11, verse 1, Isaiah is on point by saying, "out of the stump of David's family." The Hebrew version actually saying Jesse's family, who was David's father, will grow a shoot, a new branch bearing fruit from the old root. A little bit of a poet. He goes on to describe the gloriousness that will be Jesus and the effect that Jesus will have on this world and the spirit of wisdom and understanding, and the Lord will rest on him. When you read it, it's so jarring and perfect and terrifying to think that this man, this prophet, is a war by war and event by event, accurately letting the Israelites know that Jesus is coming and when. Today we'd have Isaiah locked up and medicated if he was on the street corner saying these things. And I think for me, that's why it's so hard to believe. But if you sit quietly and you focus on the idea that you don't have to understand him or his ways, that's not your job. Your job is to follow him as best you can and let the chips fall where he places them. Now, in the middle of today's chapters, Isaiah is predicting the downfall of Babylon long before Babylon was even a concern to the Assyrian Empire. It's like telling Americans to be afraid of the Japanese before Pearl Harbor kind of thing. I don't know how non-Christians and atheists and people who worship other gods explain Isaiah. I mean, what he says comes true, but his words are so silly for him to have said it at the time that he said it. And then chapter after chapter, he's talking about what happens to Assyria, what happens to Philistia, a message about the Moab men being too proud and the downfall that's going to come to them. It's like pages and pages and pages of this. But in chapter 16, verse 5, Isaiah says, "Then God will establish one of David's descendants as king. He will rule with mercy and truth. He will always do what is just and be eager to do what is right." The thing about the Bible is it's hard to believe some and not all, because where does that begin and end, really? Scientists have already acknowledged that the flood causing Noah's Ark to float for as long as it did actually happened. Right now, they're trying to dig up Noah's literal ark. So if you're going to believe that this God spoke to Noah and gave him exact measurements and instructions on boat building, and that he was able to cram 7 of each animal in that humongous boat, then you must believe that Isaiah was receiving the words of the Lord, because there's no other explanation of how he wrote these events 600 years before they happened. This kind of makes trusting in the Lord seem a little bit easier for me. I don't know about you guys. Knowing that you can count on the words of his book as truth, and in those words, he begs you to just trust in his plan. You don't have to understand it, just follow him. Does that kind of stir something in you, making you want to do just that? It does for me. Anyways, tomorrow, we're going to dig into Isaiah 17 to 21. If you want to read ahead, please comment and like this video in order to send it around the YouTube verse. Have a blessed day, all of you, and don't forget to say your prayers. Moron. This is the Bible in a Year theme song.